fire.
Hi, and welcome to Hot Ones. This is the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. I am not Sean Evans. I am Josh Deering, one of the faculty members at Williamsport Family Medicine Residency Program, and I'm here with Dr. Jess Smith.
Hello.
So, Jess, how are you with spicy foods?
Not great. So we'll see how this goes.
Okay. All right. So not a lot of spice in your family, is that what it is? We're not...
Yeah, no. I mean, I can do a little bit, but if any of you have seen the recent episode with Emily Snell, she was very demure, very cutesy, very mindful. This will not be that.
All right. So we'll start out with our first wing. This is the Hot Ones garlic Fresno.
Okay.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers. So you mentored first-year students in medical school as part of a Big Brother, Big Sister program.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you are one of the chief residents, can you draw a parallel between any of those roles?
Yes, of course. In med school, the Big Sister, Big Brother program, it was a lot of getting people ready to come into medical school and then helping them kind of transition into their first few years. And same thing with residency. When the new interns come, we have our orientation, and it's nice to kind of greet them and get to know them before they really officially start, but then also help them in their first year transition.
Great. So this is our second wing.
Okay.
This is Cholula. So we added this to the list because it's the hot sauce that's available at the hospital cafeteria.
Mm-hmm. The best on the breakfast pizza.
Oh, excellent breakfast pizza.
Mm-hmm.
How has your autonomy evolved as you've worked your way through the program? Did you feel confident managing patients independently?
I think that there's always a component where you feel like you don't have all the answers, which is normal, but you have a lot of support. And in your first year, there's a lot of what can I do, what can't I do, and you're kind of constantly running things by your seniors and your attendings. I think once you get to second year and you're helping your interns and leading them, would you like to throw that away? That's when you start to realize that you do know a lot of things and you can help them, and you kind of get more comfortable making those decisions. But always knowing you have the support of your attendings in the back of your head is really nice.
All right. So wing number 3, this is seeing double.
Perfect.
So you've always been active in sports. You were in a triathlon back in college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you found any ways to stay active in residency?
Oh, have I? Yes, of course. We have a lot of things that we do together. Mainly, my favorite is pickleball. So we have pickleball club, and we try to do that every Thursday, especially in the warmer months. There's a running club that I occasionally go to, but not as often. But we have time to work out either together or separately. There's gyms around that people go to, like the YMCA's nearby and Planet Fitness and everything. So it's very possible to stay active in residence.
Great. And pickleball's like tennis, right?
Pickleball is like a giant ping pong.
Okay.
So you need to really work on your angles there.
So wing number 4, this is fermented kimchi.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jess, now that you're wrapping up your residency, are there any rotations you'd recommend for a student to take as they're wrapping up medical school?
Well, we have a lot of different things you can do as a medical student. So you can do inpatient rotation with medicine, OB, or peds, and then you can also do your outpatient clinic elective. Any of them are really great because you can work with a lot of different people. I personally think that the inpatient ones are more fun because you get to work with the residents more. You do get to work with them in the outpatient setting, but you can see a little bit more of the camaraderie when you're on the inpatient teams.
Going back for another bite?
Uh-huh. Okay, now I'm done.
See, they're going to include this stuff. I don't want them to, but they will. He's going to put something in here. Like
How many times?
me
you-
daintily like cleaning my fingers.
Oh, yeah, it's a good idea.
No. No. So our next one is barbacoa.
Okay.
So Jess, I heard you recently got married.
I did. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And if we ask Ben, who is not in medicine at all, right? What would he say is the most challenging part of residency?
He would probably say the like constantly changing sleep schedules, because he has to deal with me when I'm, back from a 24 or working late and sleep deprived. So he sees that side the most.
So do you notice some changes in yourself when you come back from a 24?
Yes, of course. Sometimes when you could finish a 24 shift, you feel like you've held it together that whole time. You're doing okay, and then you get home and you're like, I can't make a decision. What do I want for breakfast? I have no idea.
So our next sauce here is the Wegmans hot jalapeno.
Okay.
So just want to have a shout out to the local grocery store Wegmans. Not everyone has one. So you work for a catering business as both a student manager and wait staff,
Oh,
is that right?
yeah, when I was at Boston University. Hmm.
So what did you learn from working in reception with 500 people, and what were you able to apply from that for residency?
Well, when I did catering, there was lots of different events. So we did like past hors d'oeuvres for some, we did plated dinners, we did like really small ones, really big ones. And I really liked the past hors d'oeuvres the best because it was really fun and everyone was so excited to see you because you had the food. The plated dinners were a little bit less exciting. And usually that had a little bit more of like the customer service aspect where you had to like, troubleshoot whatever they wanted. And it helped you maintain your composure when you were trying to clear all these plates and take these heavy trays back. One time I felt very capable and confident because I had stacked up a tray so nicely. It looked beautiful, but it was way too heavy. So I picked it up and I had to go all the way across this giant ballroom of people. And the whole time I was like, please don't drop anything. Please don't drop anything. And we did it. It's fine. Sometimes, there's like a lot going on, either with the customer service aspect, like with patient care, kind of talking them through things, and if they're still frustrated or confused about their experience, kind of having to go through that. But then also just in terms of, sometimes it gets overwhelming and you gotta keep it together to triage the most important things you have to do.
Stack up everything and hope it doesn't fall. Yeah.
But then you can learn to ask for help. In that situation, as soon as I got back to the kitchen, it was a cry for help for somebody to take this tray from me.
So next up we have Chairman Meow's Revenge. So what are you looking for in a student when they're working with you on rotations?
Usually it's the best to work with somebody who's really eager to learn and wants to help out, and is willing to ask questions, and also sometimes being just like aware of what is happening with the team at any given moment. So if it's really crazy, trying to find ways to help, but maybe also knowing when to like be in that observer role and then when to jump in. So having that like situational awareness. But then also just like somebody who is fun to be around. So just, you get to hang out with them all day. And so if you're wanting to teach them and they're receptive to that and like having a fun time, then it makes it better for everybody.
Yeah. Some people don't love working with students. What do you feel about it?
I think it's fun because I actually really like teaching, and so especially as you get into those like senior roles and you feel like you know a lot, and then you get to run somebody through something and like see them like start to understand, it feels really nice that you've like helped them and that they like hopefully will remember what you've taught them.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like it doesn't help someone to be there as a student, like a student visiting a program? Do you think there's any drawbacks to doing that?
I think as a student, sometimes you feel like you either don't have like a good role because don't always get the opportunity to like show that you're like involved, and sometimes things move on without you, unless you're like really aggressive into like getting involved, which was actually something that stood out when I was a student here. Is like that didn't happen, is like people would like seek me out because they knew that I was interested in certain fields, and they would be like, oh, why don't you come join us with this, why don't you come see this, why don't you come do that. And so that was very different than other places I had been, where you had to like constantly be like, what can I do, where can I be, how can I help, whereas like here everyone was so interested in your learning that they would seek you out even as a medical student.
Great. Here's the next one from Barcelona. So what's the most challenging part of being chief, and what makes it worth it?
Well, the most challenging part, I think, is having to go, like, address people if there are issues or if there's concerns, because that's a role that you're not typically having to do, even as, like, a senior resident. A lot of times you can help them through their rotation, and maybe it's like, oh, you might need a little bit of feedback on like your notes or this or that. But if it's like addressing a behavioral issue or something like that, it takes a little bit of extra finagling because you're also their peer. So that's a little bit of a challenge. And of course, making the call schedule is just a little bit of a challenge as well. But the things that make it worth it are also those same hard moments of like helping somebody through a difficult time, or really being able to like be there for somebody and get them out of like a time of burnout or a really tough rotation or a bad patient encounter, or even just making them feel like they have someone to go to.
What makes the call schedule so hard?
It's a giant puzzle, and there's a lot of different components where we have like, oh, we'll have a little algorithm that this should be easy, but then we also want to accommodate people's time off requests, and we do a really good job at our program about like allowing you to be flexible with your vacation time. And I think that that's something that's special, is that we can kind of break it up. We don't take like weeks at a time. You can kind of sprinkle it throughout your year. And so you want to be able to do that for people to have the best like work-life balance. And so then that kind of throws it a little bit wonky sometimes. For example, with my wedding, I had a lot of residents come, and so then you have to find coverage, and that kind of shifts the typical pattern. But we like want to make that happen for people.
How you feeling, Jess?
I'm feeling apprehensive. Okay.
You're doing well so far. You're in it. You're in the path. We're taking these wings one at a time. And
Yep.
I'm right here with you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Sorry, channeling Sean Evans there. Next, we have Hotter Saws. This is from our local place, Sawhorse.
They have good brunch.
So, how do you handle conflict in the residency, and what are the venues that are there to raise concerns?
Ooh. Yep. You guys, I don't know. We might not get to the end here. Okay, I'm with that one down.
Would you like me to repeat the question? or-
Something about conflict.
So, how do you handle conflict within the program, and then what are the venues to raise concerns?
Yeah. So I guess the nature of the conflict is like the first thing to figure out is like what's the true issue, because sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. Oh my goodness, you guys. The other once you like kind of have that understanding, it can be a little bit more helpful to navigate the problem. I will finish the question in a second. Okay. My mouth is on fire. Okay.
Cover our eyes.
Okay. So
Venues for raising concerns?
the first thing I think with the conflict is like if you can talk to the person yourself, that's always the best thing. But if you can't, then like finding the different avenues. So if somebody comes to me, there's like, do you want to just vent about it? Do you want me to do something about it? Do you want me to help you do something about it? and kind of figuring out the next steps. There's a lot of ways that we can navigate conflict and like next steps here. So if somebody does come to me, it's either, is it an immediate thing? Do you want us to address it with like a faculty or the person themselves? Do you want to write it down and put it in an evaluation? We have anonymous evaluations, or just normal rotation evaluations. So we have a lot of ways to give feedback. And that's, I think, where I'm going to end it. And I'm going to have some milk.
All right.
All right, I am going to take this off, too. I'll put my hair on. Woo!
Getting real.
There's a little bit of a jump here.
A jump? From that?
A step. A little step.
Oh, boy. All right.
So I'm relatively new at being faculty here. So what advice do you have for me to live up to the standards set by the likes of Brian Catterley?
Yep. I think I think the times I enjoy like precepting the most or like going over a case is like when I guess I feel confident in what I've gathered and what my next steps are, but also even in those times when you feel like I have like a little bit of a grasp on it, but I just needed like a little bit of extra help, and kind of getting through that final like assessment and plan is when people don't necessarily like give you the answer, and someone like Dr. Brian Catterley is really good at like making you like use your brain and think and like getting to your own conclusion, but also helping you with those like guiding questions of like, why are you thinking about it in this way, and what are the pros and cons of each options that you've come up with, and then that helps you come to a conclusion.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Ready?
It's the bomb.
It's the bomb. So you're applying for an OB fellowship.
Yep.
How do you feel like the program prepared you for that process?
Oh. Okay, so yeah, you guys. Okay, I am applying for an OB fellowship, yes. So with our program, we have set rotations with OB, and I think that at least when I was an intern, we didn't have like the highest volume, but we were like trying to, and the program has like done a lot of things for the whole program, not just me, but to increase our volume and our experience. I am crying. The other thing is that because I have been interested in wanting extra experience, they've helped me set up extra electives, working with the OBGYNs to get more C-section experience, even helping me set up away rotations so that I can get like more experience, more numbers, and even just helping me with my schedule when I'm having interviews kind of pop up and trying to navigate that last minute scheduling. So everyone's been super supportive, and I've definitely gotten a lot of experience, and I still have the rest of my year to kind of finish it out. Oh my gosh.
So next is Peppers Up.
All right.
So looking back at it all, what was the most fun you had, or what was the best day that you've had in training so far?
Oh, you guys. Why are you trying to ask me about happy times during such an unhappy moment? Okay. There's like different ways to answer that, I guess, in terms of like medical success, where you feel like you really did right by a patient, or you know, the support that you feel from your residents when you're having a really tough shift and like people come and help you. But there's also just like numerous times that you spend outside of work with your co-residents that are like so fun that it's hard to narrow it down. But we have sometimes events such as these where we have the residency fun, and I think one of the best days was our CHOP challenge, where we all got to break off and make meals together and then come together and have a judge, and just like having that team building experience. And that's my answer. And I need to wipe my nose.
All right. So it's a tradition around here to put a little extra on the last wing. You don't have to if you don't want to. No pressure.
Oh boy.
There we go. Little dab will do you.
Just put it right in front of me, but no pressure.
No pressure. You don't have to.
Okay, I'll do it for Emily. So she'll be
Does come out fast.
so she'll be proud of me. One little drop.
There we go.
I don't even know if I can get that.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All right, Jess. As you graduate, what do you think your legacy here is going to be?
Whew. I don't know. Okay. My legacy. I don't know. I guess I hope that my legacy is to be a good co-resident and somebody that people feel like they can rely on. Yep, I think that's all I'm gonna say because
Great.
I can't focus.
13 wings up, 13 wings down. Jess, look at it. This camera, or this camera. Let the people know what you have going on in your life.
I have an afternoon clinic that I'm going to try to get through after that experience.
Well done. Well done. You made it. You made it.
Emily, you're so strong.